I lift off and go my way. And for all the work we did, you go and call. And easy down comes the boiling wall. You're not a bad man, you're not a bad man, I'm not a bad woman. You're not a bad man, you're not a bad man, I'm not a bad woman. 'Cause I know the girl and who, oh, you know what I mean. Don't you make a fool of eventually. When will we ever learn we're addicted to the love? Oh my God, are we coming clean? We could just bury the body, bury the body, body. Oh, love me or leave me, let me be lonely. I'd rather be lonely than happy with somebody else. I sing this every day. Don't make me a sinner in your holy place. I don't even know her anyway. You're not a bad man, you're not a bad man, I'm not a bad woman. Yeah, I'm not a bad man, you're not a bad man, I'm not a bad woman. 'Cause I know the girl and who, boy, you know what I mean. It's easier to love eventually. When will we ever learn we're addicted to the rug? Oh my God, are we coming clean? We could just bury the body, bury the body, body, bury the body, bury the body, bury the body from
It's Chuck from Above the Basement, Boston Music and Conversation. That was a song from the album Domestic called Bury the Body by Ruby Rose Fox. This award-winning singer-songwriter, actor, and artist is a force to be reckoned with. Ruby's deep, unique voice is surprising at first, but she soon pulls you into her resonant sound with powerful lyrics and an amazing vocal range. Ruby pays homage to Leonard Cohen, Andy Warhol, and Roy Orbison in our conversation about singing, acting, writing, learning, and growing. In a little bit, you'll hear another cut called Rock Bottom, and at the end, a great song called O'Roy. To keep up with Ruby, go to rubyrosefox.com where you can see where she's performing, learn how to become an executive producer on her next album, and donate to her new project, the Gifted Voice Program, which is based on the simple idea that not every kid or teen can afford a world-class music education. Gifted offers one child in Boston who cannot afford private instruction, a free voice lesson, or a chance to craft their own songs under the guidance of a mentor. Okay, so here is our conversation with Ruby Rose Fox, recorded at Woods Hill Table in Concord, Massachusetts.
Ruby, it's so cool that you're here.
It's so cool to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Where'd you come from?
Jamaica Plain.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So not too far.
Yes, you invited us to your house, and
I did.
we appreciate that.
I'm glad you didn't because this is more fun.
Oh, well, good. Well, you've been out here before.
Yeah, but I've never been to this cool restaurant before.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And you see that ladder
and
right
really
there?
Quiet.
A guy who works here named Adam, who's a great bartender, right?
Bartender, yep.
We were just here before recording something else, and he was in the process of making that fork with paint
cool.
and the roots. So someone designed that, but he's actually just,
Putting it up.
that is freshly painted. You're the
That's
first
beautiful.
person to see that.
I love it.
It means farm to table.
Well,
Sort of
clearly.
farm.
That was designed very well. Roots, the fork, got it.
Don't you teach her daughters to sing, right?
Yeah, in Acton.
Oh, cool. And how long have you been doing that?
Couple years.
Have
Your studio is in Acton?
No, my studio's in Boston, but
Oh,
I teach once a week at a school in Acton.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant. So
Yeah.
where you teach
Yeah.
is in Acton. Okay. Where in Acton?
It's called On Your Toes Dance.
So wait, I'm sorry, you teach dance or you teach
I
singing?
teach musical theater, which is funny.
It's not funny.
Yeah. Wait, are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Oh, okay. Now I have to watch what I say.
No, you don't. If there's anything that you say that you want us to get rid
Okay.
of, we edit
Deal.
it out.
Deal.
We're not trying to do a gotcha for anybody except for maybe Ron.
Yeah, so I
Cool.
just teach a couple classes once a week, but it's fun.
Voice and dance?
Some voice and some dance, yeah.
But musical theater, I know you were an actor at
Yeah.
Emerson.
Uh-huh.
Was musical theater your major or was this
my
acting?
my major, I didn't like musical theater and sort of I wanted to do either music or straight theater,
Yeah.
serious, real theater, what I
Yeah.
thought at the
Yeah.
time. So I just studied acting.
Okay. I don't know,
Yeah.
Ron, if you knew that I used to be an actor. Did you know that?
He was an actor.
You
was.
were an
He is
actor.
an actor still.
So you know all about it then.
And you wanted to do theater or film, maybe?
Yeah.
Did you want to do
Never wanted to do film.
Really?
I didn't like the industry. I didn't like the weirdness of it.
But you were here in Boston. Did you ever go to New York to act?
I went to New York for a boot camp program right when I graduated to
Yeah.
sort of meet agents, and I hated it. That's when I made the choice to stay in Boston as like a permanent thing.
But did you stay in Boston to act, or did you?
Yeah, I stayed and stayed to do theater,
Oh, wow.
and then ultimately didn't continue doing it. But
How long did you do it for?
I did it for about 4 years.
4 years.
Seriously, yeah. And then that's when I stopped and started songwriting.
When I left the academy, I started a theater company, and so I produced my own. I would just produce stuff that I would act in myself.
Oh, fun.
And then it was after we did a pretty big show, and we got some good reviews, reviews anyways. And I remember going to an audition for like a hamburger or something. And I don't mean to denigrate actors who do this at all.
Yeah.
But I
What?
just
for a hamburger.
It was for like a
Like a
it was-
commercial?
Oh, the payment was a hamburger.
No, you moron.
Oh.
What, do you think actors get paid in hamburgers? What are you, Popeye? What the hell's that? No.
I was like, what are you
As
talking
big as
about?
10 hamburgers.
It was
I
was
went to an audition for a hamburger. Okay, go ahead.
it was an audition for like Burger King or something. Good God. And I quit. I just right there. I just said I can't.
Yeah.
I was done. And that was the last time I acted. Unless you count this.
Yeah.
I guess.
That was in 1978, by the way.
No, it wasn't. You jerk. What was the thing that made you decide not to act anymore?
Oh, man.
Or is this maybe something that's still there in the back
Well,
burner?
this is totally full circle. Actually, this story that I'm about to tell is one I don't tell that much.
Excellent.
There's a lot of things that led up to me finally putting acting down and saying, I'm just writing songs. I'm a songwriter. Even though I had no idea how to write songs and could barely play guitar, I just knew that was the path. But it all started actually when I was working with this company called the Actors Shakespeare Project, and they have an incarcerated youth program where they do Shakespeare with incarcerated boys and girls.
Interesting.
I was sort of interning because I was feeling very lost. I was thinking about being a Buddhist chaplain. I didn't know what I wanted to
read
do
that.
next. So I was working with these girls doing Macbeth.
Was it girls
In a
juvenile or
it
girls
was
prison
a
unit?
detention center, so it was locked up, but it was like in a house, so it didn't feel like a prison, but it was definitely under control. And there was this one girl who really liked to sing, and she was also really having a hard time. And some of the other teachers were working with the other girls, and this one day I just worked with her intensively, and I looked at her and I was just like, you really can do anything you want to do in life. Like, you could be a singer if you wanted to. And I just remember having this sick feeling inside, because at the time I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll just do this for the rest of my life, or maybe I'll do that for the rest of my life. And I had this sick feeling in my stomach that I had all this potential in myself, and can I swear?
Yes.
I was bullshitting. I was saying that you can be and do anything, but I didn't actually believe that for myself. And I just had this deep feeling like I should not become a mentor until I could be the change that I was asking her to be. That was the wake-up call. If my path really is to inspire young people and become the person I want to become, I need to become that person. And from that day forward, the goal was to be able to walk in a room and actually mentor a child and know that I was also following my passion 100%.
It took that interaction with that person.
Yeah, to sort
To
of
see that inside.
To see that inside myself.
That's
This
pretty
is-
powerful.
And
Yeah.
this is after you graduated from college.
Yeah, a bunch of years after.
But you'd always been singing.
I've sung from as soon as I could put a microphone to my mouth, so 4 or 5 years old. And I was super dyslexic, so my mom knew that if I was good at something that she should help me with that. So we didn't have a ton of money, but she definitely got me lessons and made sure that I was feeling special in the music department. So
I think your mom knew that there was a power of music that could help people with dyslexia, or was this sort of a gut thing?
No,
or?
because I didn't actually know I was dyslexic until I was 22.
So she probably saw, or
she
did
knew
she
there
see
was
that you
something
responded?
wrong. Yeah, she knew there was something wrong with the way that I thought in terms of like traditional education, but she knew I was really smart. So none of that was thought out. I think it was just she knew that it was going to be helpful to my self-esteem if I knew I was good at something.
Did that eventually help your reading in school?
Actually, the thing that helped my reading, and the reason I only really know that I was dyslexic, was because we did, in college at Emerson, we did this phonetic pillow work. I was studying accents, and we were breaking down phonemes, so basically breaking down language and the sound of language. And we would make the sound of a phoneme and then touch a pillow. So basically, we were really trying to get these sounds inside of our bodies in a really deep way. And during that time, something switched in my brain. I went from probably reading 10 to 20 books a year, but each book I read was I read all of Chekhov, but that's all I read, and it took me so long to get through any passage. So I went from that to reading 100 or more books a year because I could read all of a sudden. I was just like, holy shit, I can understand what I'm reading. And it was like this whole intellectual sort of revolution happened in my brain.
Yeah,
So-
it's really interesting because, I mean, we've talked about this in other parts of the podcast, but I mean, with rhythm and music, there's a lot of research on dyslexia being very amenable to music itself and rhythm. And actually, Sally Taylor, who was a guest on the show,
Sally Taylor.
She's very invested in
Yeah.
dyslexia as well.
I know her. When
oh,
I was
yeah?
a nanny, her kid and the kid I nannied played together.
Oh, really?
That's crazy.
Yeah. I
Wow.
didn't know that about her, though.
If you look up consensus, CONSENSES.org, that's her thing.
That is so cool.
And anyway, wow, that's small world.
yeah, really,
small-
Yeah, really small.
ATB world.
But it fascinates me that you didn't consider music a vocation or anything that you wanted to do so late in life, although you had been singing for a long time.
Well, I always, like, on all my sheets when you're a kid, what do you want to be a grow up? They all say singer.
Oh, okay.
So I knew it from the earliest. And then in high school, I started to be interested more in theater. Probably, I think, because I was in a ska band. I was
Right.
already playing in clubs in Boston. So I felt like acting was the thing to achieve because I already was sort of touring and playing music. I remember my drummer at the time was a very intense fellow, and he was like, you have to be one or the other. So I was like, okay, I'm doing acting.
You have to be one or the other.
I have to be
You
one
mean
or
like
the other.
ska, or
Like
not
a
ska, but
singer,
a band.
you have to be intense. You have to be a singer or an actor. And which now, looking back, is hilarious to
Yeah,
me. But
yeah.
That's when you left the ska band?
no, I didn't leave the ska band until mid-college.
That's interesting. Ska.
Ska.
So why ska?
I mean, it chose me.
Yeah?
I was sitting in, when I moved to Brookline from upstate New York, and I was about 2 grades behind in education and failed out of my math class. So they put me in a study hall to figure out what the heck to do with me. And some kid walked behind me and whispered, I heard you played saxophone. And I was like, I do play saxophone. And he was like, well, show up at this house, this address on Monday night. We're practicing. We need a chick saxophone
Be
player."
there. Yeah.
He's like, we think you're hot. So
That happens to me like once a week, actually.
Yeah.
so I show up, and it's a bunch of boys playing ska punk.
And you were on sax.
And I was like this chick from upstate New York who only listened to like rap and pop music. And I was like, okay, it was fun. They like went on adventures and were just totally crazy. And I was like, this is like totally cool. Because all my girlfriends just sat around and talked about boys and hair. I
And
was
you
like,
were going to tour in a ska band
yeah, I was
playing
like, this
sax.
is like really, and like they would just cause havoc around Brookline, just like complete mania. And I was like, this is definitely something I want to be involved in.
I tell every kid that I meet they should start a band. I'm not even kidding.
Totally.
If they play the piano, I'm like, start a band.
Start a band.
Just start a band. It's just a creative, interesting outlet that's different from anything else you'll do in your life. It doesn't have to be academic. It doesn't have to be even thoughtful. It can
Most
be just
of them aren't.
It can be just energy. It's a fantastic thing to do. Even if you suck at it, just do it.
I totally
and it's an
agree.
experience you'll never forget ever.
The saxophone thing. I played sax for many years. And
What
there
kind?
was no like girl that went behind my shoulder and said, "I hear you play saxophone."
What kind of sax did she ask you? What's
Sorry, I play tenor for
Oh,
many
cool.
years. But I'm intrigued by the ska. It's almost like it's a percussive sax,
Very
right?
much, yeah.
So were you doing so much of the
Totally.
Totally.
All the lines, all the backing lines.
Yeah.
We started when we were 14 and like didn't break up till we were 22. So we got better. So at first we were just playing, you know, like it wasn't like crazy until later. And then later I actually didn't play, I sang after a while. So
Is that what kind of dovetailed you into the next chapter?
yeah, because I knew how to put a band. Like when I came back to songwriting, I knew what it was like to be in a band. I knew what it was like to run a band. I knew what it was like to go to a show and play a show. So in that way, it was not easy, but I could envision the template because I had done it in this other form.
But you wanted to change direction as far as what type of music you were doing.
Yeah. I didn't know what kind of music I wanted to play or make. I just knew that it was important to start writing my own thing.
How much of piano
I didn't
did you
play
have?
any piano. I just had an acoustic guitar.
The times I've seen you play,
Yeah.
you've been playing the piano.
Yeah.
So is that something you
I
picked up later
started
on?
playing about 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
I wish I could pick up an instrument and start playing. That'd be great.
You can. Anyone can.
I guess I can. Yes, I shouldn't be so
Remember
negative.
Ruby's
You can.
doctrine? You can do it.
You can do it.
Right.
I just started playing clarinet, so
All right.
Well,
I'm
you know, you
ashamed.
have the sax chops, though.
sure.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
That's kind of cheating.
Cool. No one really takes up the clarinet.
I know. 'Cause
That'd be
it's
kind of a cool
terrible.
gig for you. You sing a little and then take out the clarinet.
You could play the jazz flute.
And juxtapose to the lower range, because if you did a baritone sax, it may not be as nice a compliment to your voice.
Right. Because I have that frequency level all taken care of.
It's something that you've taken care of very, very nicely.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's very unique.
It's fascinating because it's very unexpected. And, you know, it reminded me, I just went and saw Martin Sexton play at Martha's Vineyard. And opening up for him was actually Sally's, I guess, her cousin, Isaac Taylor. So he looks like a Taylor, looks like his dad. And his voice, though, was so unexpected. It was not what you expect to come out. You expected James Taylor or Livingston Taylor's voice to come out. And it wasn't. It was totally unique. And
Wow.
I've never heard a voice like that.
That's so cool.
And that's kind of like you. That's not what I expect to come out of that.
Body.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And so you get taken aback by it. And that's something, especially if you're a kid, you have to embrace it or change it. Right?
Yeah, and I did change it.
Really?
For most of my life, which is why I encourage kids now to just use whatever voice they have and not try to gender it. One of the reasons I didn't pursue singing was I didn't like the sound of my own voice. I didn't like the manipulated sound I had unconsciously created for myself. In choir, I always sang the highest soprano part.
Really?
Yes, because I was going to be the best Disney princess you've ever met.
That's your
I
dream, Ron.
wanted to be that opera. I wanted to be the prima donna. And the voice that God has given me was, you know, the parts of witches and whores and old women. And that was not going to happen. I
may sell better.
made
but-
it happen, but it wasn't authentic. It was sort of crafted in order to around an idea of what I thought I needed to be. And so deep down, I always really didn't like the sound of my voice.
Yeah, it goes back to what you said to the girl in the correctional place, because you're listening to your voice, so to speak.
Yeah.
But that's like, I mean, how do you know when you're that young what you're supposed to sound like?
Right.
When I first started singing, and you know, as a solo guy, I'd sing very low, and you'd never be able to hear me on the microphone. Then after a while, I figured out where my range was. But if
Yeah.
you're singing up like princess range, you must have a pretty high range. You must have a pretty
I can
wide range.
sing high.
Well, in some of your
but
work,
it's
you know, you
not
can
where-
see that you're kind of known for that sultry lower voice, and then you can peak up to those higher tones.
Totally.
It's something that the listener wants to search for, and then come back to where you are. It's a nice change.
But that's not where the center of my voice is. So, and for some women, that is the center of the voice is much, much higher.
With that low register voice, what did you find when you decided to
To use it?
to use it? What were the challenges for you, or were there challenges?
There weren't. That was such a great time period because the second I started singing just the way that I was supposed to, doors flew open. I would sing and people would go, holy shit, can you do that again? I was literally told by the universe to keep singing. They'd be like, I like that. Whatever that is, do that again. So I got so much immediate positive reinforcement that has never happened. Like, you know, when I sang in the ska band, people were like, you have a great voice, or, you know, you're talented. But it was never like, oh, you just shook my soul, or like, you just made me want to cry. And that's all I ever wanted to do in theater, was move people emotionally and bring them through a journey, through a story. And when I sang a story, it was so clear that I could do that through my voice within 2 minutes instead of an hour. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is perfect. I like this. So it was a no-brainer.
Huh. You really resonated with people, and you can see that.
Yeah, by resonating with myself, I think.
Yeah.
You know, literally.
Rosemary, why you so scary? Daddy said you'll never be the same again. I wish that I could have saved your life. Guess you'll just be nobody's wife. Hey, you're fantastic. This fruit tastes plastic. Broke a bottle just to hear the sound. You with the over there, craft cocktails in Kenmore Square. Well, I remember when it was underground. And I gotta get better. Do I gotta be more grateful? Do I gotta be patient, happy, upright? Do I Rosemary Kennedy, who did your love bottom me? Rock bottom.
Talking with someone here that's won the best vocal at the Boston Music Awards, right?
True.
So cheers to that. And what was it, 2015 or 16? Or
Wait, what was last year? So last year was songwriter, 14 and 15.
14 and 15 for best female vocal?
Yeah.
When you won that award, were there certain songs that contributed to that, like
That contributed to,
to the win?
I don't know, because people resonate with different narratives.
So they didn't say, well, it was this song that sort of spoke to us. Or,
Musicians tend to like a song called Oh Roy, which is about Roy Orbison. But there was never like the one hit song
yep.
that was just obvious. Everyone had a different favorite, which was very surprising to me. Things definitely resonated for different people.
I don't mean to keep on harping on how your voice sounds, but I'm wondering if when you discovered that range and how well you did it, did that point you in the type of music you wrote?
Yeah,
It's-
it wasn't
it's-
conscious. None of it was. I just wrote what came out, and I think that was all interweaved together.
What like,
Don't
were you
know.
coming from a singer-songwriter background, like as far as what you listened to?
I mean, I pretty much, for the time I was writing, was exclusively listening to Leonard Cohen. And I've said this in many, many times, but Roy Orbison is just the foundation of everything. For me, vocally, was my first favorite thing I taped off the radio when I was literally 5 years old. That voice is a big influence on me, more than anybody.
And Leonard Cohen, we lost him, what, a year ago?
Yeah, oof. That was brutal.
What
He's
about
great.
him? Is it the craft of the song and what he says
It was
in the
the
song?
words that got me.
Yeah.
The way that he twisted a phrase in a way that was just shocking to me. When I first came across him in my late 20s, I was like, what? You can just say it like that? He rocked my whole world in terms of wit and heart, everything. And he's Jewish, so there's something about that too. A Jew who's obsessed with Jesus
Right.
resonated with me, who's Jewish and was raised evangelical. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jesus was basically a Jewish carpenter.
Exactly. So he was a big part of, and it still is a muse for me.
But I can hear that kind of Leonard Cohen, what you're talking about, the way he sang. I can hear that in the way you sing, because it's not just the way you lilt and form of your words, it's part of the story of the song too. It's not just, I don't know.
Well, you know who just talked about that last week? We were talking to Don Henley,
Oh, cool.
who was like the last guest before Ruby. He was talking about how the words would marry not only the music but the note. So that the way that he learned over time about songwriting was not just about the actual phrasing, but there were certain types of, back to phonemes. So there were certain parts of a word that needed to be married to a certain note, which to me is fascinating.
Absolutely.
Why does that sort of strike a chord with people or hit the nail on the head? I don't know.
Well, it all goes back to Shakespeare. It goes back to the original creation of language. And in the English language, the words that we use, we're now in this age of post-language, post-meaning of language. Like, we're at the point where news isn't news, presidents aren't presidents, and everything's a non-something. And a lot of this younger culture is so sarcastic that literally they say the opposite of what they mean. Like, you're ugly means I like you. And, well, maybe that was always the case. But in Shakespeare, there's not really sarcasm. If ever used, it would be so rare. When you say something, you mean it to actually communicate what you feel inside. Music is meant to convey feeling in an authentic and meaningful way. I tell my students this, that take the word ocean. You can be like, I'm going to the ocean. But if you break down the word ocean sounds like the ocean.
Right.
And you could say, this is the root of the problem. Or you could say, this is the root of the problem. The root. There's so much life inside of language that normally we bulldoze over because we don't need to use it in the same way as the original intention and DNA of the word.
Yeah, because now we tweet it.
And it's not even, we don't even hear language anymore.
There's a lot of cultures that talk about how their language is musical, how it has the inflections.
And
there's more to it than just the actual word.
And English is musical. That's why Shakespeare translated is terrible. It's meant to be used in this beautiful way. And I think songwriters, if used well, melody and language and rhythm all are one thing to express in service of the idea, in service of the story. So it's so cool. It's so fun.
It is cool. I mean, that's going back to so as a singer, and then you went through academically wanting to be an actress, and then coming back to being a songwriter and a singer. It all sort of makes sense because,
right.
I mean,
Totally.
you're processing the words in a certain way to convey them.
Yeah.
And that's what an actress or actor does.
But also as I'm singing, I'm letting the words and the language flow over me just like I would if I was doing To Be or Not to Be. So in a way, I'm doing actually very much exactly the same thing I was doing in theater.
How much work goes, this is kind of a rhetorical question, but I just want to throw it out there. How much work goes into that marrying of your voice, of the notes to the words? Do you have the words and then you just hope you get that magic that you can marry it? Or is there a scientific thing there that you're trying to do when you're you're writing?
There's no science. I wish there was. That would be so awesome. Like, I just finished a new song. I could tell you about that process because every process is different. I was playing in my studio and the word matador came up. It came out in a way that there's something in that. And so I didn't know what a matador was, so I looked it up, and I was like, oh, it's a bullfighter. Because I didn't know much about it, I started doing all this research. I probably watched 7 documentaries, read Ernest Hemingway. To me, I started becoming obsessed with the relationship between the bull and the matador and the intimacy of it. And then all of a sudden, this song, words started to come. I would take words straight from people's mouths. I would take things that came up for me while I was watching the material, and I would take those words and played chords that felt good. I would something started to come, then I would wait until the next thing came, like what the next phrase was, and kind of blubbering because it's hard to explain, but it's mostly just like I know when the next thing has been written or not.
Was it a sound or was it a melody?
It was a melody, yeah.
That sort of built on the previous melody.
Yeah. Like I
Strung
wrote
them
this
together.
line. I'll say. Oh, do you want me to sing for you? I'll sing for
That'd
you.
be great, actually. Yeah.
So it was like the first line of it, sort of like I felt this sort of like Roy Orbison beat, like a bum, 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 bum kind of beat. And then I sang, they say I never tell our story right anymore. And then I was like, okay, well, who's speaking? Who's the narrator? Who's saying that? It must be a love relationship. I must be saying this to a beloved who I've been in a relationship with. And then the next line came. And I didn't actually weave in the word matador until the end of the chorus. It sort of created itself. I let it create itself. And that's how I make songs.
The bull and the matador, are they the, is that the couple?
Well, it turned out that I'm the bull and the matador is my lover or my beloved or whatever. I was struggling with that tension, trying to figure out who I was in it. And it was very clear that I was the bull. So that tension is in the song. The politics are in the song. The love is in the song. The death is in the song. It's all there. So it's just a very mysterious process.
Boy, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done, I can't say in any song I've written, I've ever done research on the subject.
Yeah.
It's been like, oh, that rhymes. Look at that. So,
Look at that.
but I mean, I don't mean, I'm not making fun.
No,
but
no, that's fine.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It really is, because sometimes you just think that songwriters certainly will put a lot of thought into the lyrics, but the story behind it. it's-
Yeah. And that everybody's different.
Yeah, everybody's different.
And
but-
again, like I think I probably approach it from an actor's point of view. I'm like, who am I? Who's the narrator? What have they been through? What's their history? What time period are we living in? You know, like constantly asking those questions. But that's an actor's sort of like dilemma. So not every songwriter should or needs to be that way, you know?
Yeah.
We'd never have the Ramones if that was the case.
Right, exactly.
Right, totally. Well, tell me about these Steinums. You guys work together currently, or?
Yeah. They played at our last, they sang at our last show. Yeah.
I'm sorry, explain who the
Gloria
Steinums are.
Steinums?
They're the name of my backup singers.
They're Gloria Steinums. Really?
They're the
Okay.
Gloria
Yeah.
Steinums.
And is it kind of short, the Steinums? Or, I don't know, I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, the
but-
Steinums. I just call them the Steinums, but their full name is the Gloria Steinums.
It's
Right,
good.
if it's
I
more
like it.
formal.
But yeah, it was hard because I didn't want to call them the girls. I wanted to put them in a powerful position
No,
on
it's
stage.
it's perfect. I mean, it's like
So-
they're backup singers, but like they are like the person you
Yeah.
think of with like total feminism.
Yeah, it enabled us to wear fabulous sequin dresses and stand up for women's rights at the same time. So
When you played just recently at the MFA, you had the full band there too, right?
I had the full band there.
How'd that
yeah.
go? I'm
It was
sorry I didn't-
really nice.
I'm sorry I didn't get to
It
make
got
there.
rained out and we had to play inside, and it was so nice. I hate the outside. I
Playing outside
hate
is
playing
tough.
Outside. All of it was freaking great. That was a big honor, just because I think museums are just the best.
It's a fantastic museum.
Yeah.
I love the MFA.
Well, it's a great, and Elizabeth Stewart Gardner is hosting a lot of music too.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
we
know if
played
you-
there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
That's
that was
right, yeah.
fun. That was also a total honor.
One of the museums I haven't been to.
Oh my gosh!
I know.
See a show. That's a good.
You have to go.
Good excuse to go.
I think I'm still under suspicion for those missing paintings. That's why I'm staying away. Another thing I wanted to talk about are the fantastic videos you do.
Sure.
And I mean, obviously your acting comes out in that. And actually the one that really stood out to me, and they're all theatrical and interesting to look at, is the one, I think it's in black and white. You just stare in the camera the whole time.
Oh, the Die Pretty video, yeah.
Yeah, Die Pretty.
So that's I stole that idea from Andy Warhol, who did Edie Sedgwick. At the time, I didn't have blonde hair, so I recreated myself to look as much exactly like Edie Sedgwick. And he called them moving portraits. And he had Bob Dylan do
Right.
one.
And they just stare at
Yeah,
the camera for
so-
like a good long period of time.
Yeah,
right?
just stare.
I saw
And
that.
I had studied meditation, so that was not a big deal for me.
I like that a lot. I thought it was interesting. And it's funny how you doing not
Nothing.
much can really kind of make it not want to look away. It's
Yeah.
just you kind of...
Yeah, minimalist, but yeah.
I kept
was
on
like-
expecting you to start lip syncing, and
Yeah,
you
I
never
know.
did. The other
Yeah.
videos are fantastic. I
Thanks.
mean, it's the flower petals, and it's
Yeah.
you in costume. I mean, there's your acting career
Yeah.
coming to the forefront
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
How brave are you when you do that?
I'm pretty brave.
Yeah.
Do you feel brave when you're doing it?
Well, yeah.
But it's
Do you feel more comfortable after you've done like 10 of them?
Definitely me and my videographer have become very close friends because of it.
Yeah, probably very close.
Yeah.
He's
Had to film me in gold body paint and a duck in a tub and electroshock therapy.
right. Electroshock therapy.
So,
You have to be
I mean,
close
I
with
put him
someone,
through
yeah.
hell. So we've become very close. But yeah, like in the Frankenstein video, my tooth popped off because I was like trying to eat chicken and I was like crying and eating chicken from a bowl. And it was like dark, man. It was so dark. But
I haven't
we had
seen
fun
that one.
at the
Crying
end.
and eating chicken
Yeah,
in a
you
bowl.
have to watch the Frankenstein video.
But we're the MTV we're the MTV generation,
Yeah.
like the original
You
MTV
are.
generation, where we watched music videos all the time.
Yeah.
And
I was 5.
Now
and I was 5 and Chuck was 15.
yeah. Now I couldn't tell you any videos. Out
Yeah.
now.
Well, because there's so many.
Do you know what the
I think
first
if there
video was?
I do.
Thanks.
No way.
You know
really?
these. You know.
Yeah.
That's
you know
not
someone
true.
that's not a
Yeah.
millennial in the room.
That was the
answers
first. That was the first one to be on
Video
MTV.
killed the radio star.
Yeah,
Wait, that
those-
was the first music video?
On, that was the first one aired on MTV.
Yeah, we saw it in 1980, like live. Believe us. We're like a Wikipedia for it.
Wow, that's amazing to me. What a cool artistic
I was 9 and I
statement
was
to come
like,
out
yeah,
with
yeah.
a bang.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You do everything yourself. You don't have a company
I
working
have a
for
booking agent,
you. You're a booking agent.
but that's it.
But as far as your image and everything that you're doing, that's you. And it's very well done.
Thank you.
Okay. The first thing that you see when you go to your website is you there, and you actually, and I read something earlier before I saw that, where you said music is free now, and I'm okay with that. And I don't know if you're in a small majority of people who are okay with that, but
Yeah.
it's certainly something we
Well,
talk about a lot,
yeah.
right? And it's just the way it is, right? What are you going
Right.
to do?
Well, I'm
a
not
reality.
okay with that, but it's what it is.
Right.
So it's either we fight it or we.
But right now you
figure out a
have
new way.
you have a very interesting
Model.
model. Thank
Model.
you. You have an interesting
Yeah.
model. It's not a GoFundMe or
No.
anything like that. It's something that you're doing by yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a great, honest video of you looking at the camera. It's saying, "Look, this is the situation, and I want you to help me."
Yeah.
And it reminds me of that. Oh, what's her name? I'm not going to remember her name. She did a TED Talk.
Palmer, Amanda.
Amanda Palmer.
Yeah.
She did the same
Yeah,
kind
same
of thing.
idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah. Basically saying you have to ask if you want help.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. There's a fear of asking.
I know.
And I get it, but when you can do it, it's kind of freeing.
It's hard to ask because you know that 100 other bands in Boston are also crowdfunding their record. So you have to really believe in that what you make produces value for other people.
I don't know all the logistics, and you may want to describe
Sure.
it, but it's a monthly thing.
It's a monthly thing.
So,
So it's like NPR.
you know-
And Michelle over here is a member.
Oh, good. I'm going to be a member. so you can do different tiers, right?
Different tiers. First of all, if you're a member, the second I make a new record, you get mailed free music. You get mailed the new whatever you want.
The actual physical
yeah.
artifact.
And you get basically access to my new reality television show, which is like...
What? Tell us about this.
So
too.
I've been making vlogs on a regular basis. One was every day of the tour.
A vlog.
A vlog. So
Video
I
blog.
get on and I just talk about whatever comes to mind.
Kind of like this.
Yeah, spider eyelashes, finding eyelashes and thinking they're spiders, or I talk a lot about meditation, and I talk a lot about my personal issues and how I'm overcoming them, hopefully to inspire other people, being brave, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So you get access to me, basically, which I think is of value.
Yes.
And you get show discounts. So you get, if you're an actual Ruby fan, if you're not a Ruby fan, it's not worth it. But if you're a Ruby fan and go to shows, you actually save money because I can work with the promoters to give people discounts to shows. So at the end of the year, you're actually probably breaking even if you were going to buy things anyway. Wait, but what was I going to say? Yeah.
You don't really get much, you said.
Yeah, you don't
What
get
did you
much.
say? You don't get... You said...
I said
You
know,
started with
I
saying
said
you don't get
get
much, and then you surprised us with saying you really do get something.
You get a lot. Wait, what was I about to say? I was about
What do you
to say
get for like
something
$100
else.
a month?
This is
Oh! I was going to say you don't get anything different by tiers because I just felt like that was weird. I didn't want to tier it out like you get special things if you give more.
Right.
I just
Just
wanted
because
it
you
to
have
be
more
a
money or
community
something.
of people who...
Oh, I thought it said 5 and 10. And
It does.
15.
It does.
But you don't get like extra things. The person that does 5 a month gets the same benefits that a person 20 a month will get.
Oh,
like-
okay.
I
All
like
right.
that.
So it's sort of pay what you want type of thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like pay what you can.
Yeah.
Because I know like a lot of people can't afford $5 a month. So I don't know. It felt weird to do like a thing like you get this and you get this if you can do 5, 10, 15, 20.
I like that idea.
But it's been amazing. The thing that's been the best thing. It makes it so you're not shooting for this like super famous, like I need 1 million people to follow me. It's about concentrating your attention on like, right now it's about 100 people that are super fans. I can concentrate my attention on the people who support me the most. And that's so fun. And they give me so much love and I give them love back. And I give them demos that I'm making. And it's really given me true hope. Like, I really feel hopeful about my life and about my career because I feel like it's this self-sustaining system where when I give, the members feel appreciated.
Well, it sounds like it's obviously financial would be great, but it's not just about financial. It's not that. It's really about a community. You're really sustaining a community of people that value what you produce and your art.
Right.
No matter what it is. It could just be something
Right.
you just want to put out and you get instant gratification
Totally.
of people
Yeah.
who you know are going to be captive audience.
And I'll probably give them the whole record way before it comes out.
So speaking of the record,
Yeah.
The Boston Foundation,
Yeah.
you got that took care of like a third of the album.
A third of the album.
That's
Boston
pretty great.
Foundation did.
Can you talk? What is the Boston Foundation?
They're just a nonprofit, and
Nonprofit.
they fund a lot of things.
Helen Spalding was a board member for many years, and she started Spalding Rehab.
Oh,
and
cool.
So they do a lot of philanthropy for
Yeah.
they're connected to the Wang. Mm-hmm. So a lot of arts in Boston and,
Yeah.
and academics.
I mean, that was huge. Like, normally those kind of grants, this was a freak grant. I mean, I saw it and I was like, that is mine. Because grants for individuals have been non-existent for years. If you're an established artist who makes new work, we're interested in nurturing your career. That is unprecedented.
Well, especially nowadays, right?
Nowadays.
Yeah.
My professors from college used to live off those grants.
I also read. I'm not a lucky person. I'm not a person who wins things. You're on a roll.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I think it has to do with the fact that I've just like gotten alignment with myself and
Plus
stayed
you work your
true to
ass off.
myself. Yeah, I work really hard, but I also am uncompromising and I just follow my passion and my heart and I work really hard. But, you know, I really struggled for a long time in my acting career and in my life. Nothing seemed to ever go right. My name was never on the list. I never got the award. I was not that person. And something shifted when I came into sort of alignment with myself and was willing to just accept myself more and more.
Well, I think you're a testament to many people out there that may not realize that now, or
Absolutely.
they can look inside themselves. I mean, certainly this sort of circles back to that initial story that you, I think, said you never told about working with those women.
Yeah. And actually tonight when I get home, I'm launching my charitable version of Ruby Rose Fox, which is going to be called Gifted. The Nazis this weekend put me over the edge. I was going to wait to sort of put this out until a grant came through, which I was hoping for, but I don't know if I'm going to get or not. But I'm going to start, which is that it's voice lessons for kids, girls or boys who can't afford it, who want a real education in singing. So I'm going to let people buy a voice lesson.
Donate to that, right?
And
right.
then we'll make a video. And I've always wanted to do it. And so to bring the story full circle, I finally feel like I'm the person I knew I was. I'm going to cry. I feel like I'm becoming and have become the person that I knew that I was those years ago, but needed to fill through action. So that's going to be the next step, is figuring out how to give back and, you know, live in this world where what town you happen to be born in may determine whether you have access to a great music education or not.
There's also to finish my thought on the 1/3 taken care of by the
Oh,
Boston
yeah.
Foundation, you can also donate
Yep, you
to
can
purchase, almost like purchase a song, right?
Yeah, you can be an executive
Be an
producer, and then your
executive producer
name
for
will
each
be
song.
under the song on the record.
You're in the process of recording that right now?
Yeah.
And how long have you been recording it for?
On this last tour, I had a come to God moment and called up my producer and co-writer and really good friend and drummer Dave and said, we're starting over after recording 3 or 4 songs.
Wow.
And I said, we got to do this thing the right way. So we started over, and we're recording it as if we're recording to tape. So we're only doing one take of everything. We've only done 2 songs so far because they're so laborious, and that if I mess up, we're starting over.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
no cutting into it. So
Well, it's interesting you said
been
we're
a-
starting over after 3-4 songs, and now you can't start over
Yeah.
when you're going to record each
you
song.
can't start.
Yeah.
So it's just this totally magical other kind of paradigm shift that we're going through as learning and producing. I'm hoping it will be done and ready to release it this spring. And I think it's going to be released in a very, very non-traditional way.
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't,
So-
something
Intrigue.
doesn't surprise me about that at all.
So I'm really excited. The idea was that it's not going to be a pop record. It's very intimate. It's supposed to be something that's also physically felt in your body. We're exploring that
Wow.
right now.
Okay, that's
All right.
a cliffhanger for you.
To be continued.
Well, it's so great to talk with you.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me. It was great
Absolutely.
to talk to you too.
You held me all night long, my little shivering hands. You were a butterfly, but as steely as a southern man. You didn't stop the bleed, but said it's okay to need a beautiful, 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 beautiful day. Oh, boy, I heard about the boy, say it isn't true. I heard in Birmingham they flew right over you, and I've come from the future with the guardrail and a suture to tell you you'll get through. I'm one of the lonely two, one of the lonely two. I'm one of the lonely two. You took me to the opera. I liked the music, I liked the smell. You said I'd never really know you very well, but you were just not right. 'Cause I turned on the light, and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful was the fight. Beautiful was the fight, the fight, the fight. Oh,
Find out more about Ruby at rubyrosefox.com and the many ways you can support not only this wonderful musician, but also her gifted voice program. Go to abovethebasement.com where you can sign up for our newsletter, listen and subscribe to our podcast, like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and look at all the nice pictures we post on Instagram. We are everywhere. On behalf of Ronnie and myself, thanks for listening. Tell your friends, and remember, Boston music, like its history, is unique. Above the Basement, Boston Music and Conversation is recorded at a beautiful Woods Hill Table restaurant in West Concord, Massachusetts. Woods Hill Table is honored to have been awarded 3 stars as the most sustainable restaurant in Massachusetts by the Sustainable Restaurant Association. The food is organic, locally sourced, non-GMO, and is absolutely delicious. Chef Charlie Foster focuses on seasonal ingredients, and their own grass-fed livestock is raised on the farm at Woods Hill in Bath, New Hampshire. Go to woodshilltable.com for reservations.